Ait Natis, good day. I'm Shana Manson, Lachala Watsat. I come from the community of Lyxon, Vancouver Island region. So I'm going to be going through a presentation on regional partnership accords, and we have 2 partnership accords that are going to be signed today following this presentation. So that's pretty exciting. So I don't know if we've got the presentation queued up there. So the regional partnerships, we have 5 regions, 5 health regions in the province of British Columbia, as you know, and we've mirrored our regional representation to the First Nations Health Council along the same lines as those health regions. So the question is, why partnership? So the partnerships created from the were created from working collaboratively around the framework agreement negotiations, and it was identified in those negotiations that it's really a lot of the work that's being undertaken within our regions is being done by the health authorities, and it's not necessarily what Health Canada is doing or what the government of British Columbia is doing. So there was an early need identified to develop partnerships and relationships within the region. So the partnerships created from working collaboratively will result in greater accomplishments than each group working on its own could ever hope to achieve. And we know that based on the work that we've done in our own communities, that doing this work alone is not going to get us the results that we need. So there's a great emphasis on partnerships to ensure that we're all working towards the common needs in our region. It strengthens our relationships and will help align healthcare priorities and community health plans. So as you know, within your region, there's this Aboriginal health plan, but there's also the work within your region through your hubs and through your regional caucuses to develop your own regional health and wellness plan. And that's our goal, is to get beyond the sickness system and to focus on being well, and being well in terms of a holistic approach to being well, and looking at all the health indicators and health outcomes to ensure that our communities have as much opportunity as possible. So developing partnerships with regional health authorities to work towards those common areas will be helpful, and also it will be allowing us to have access to resources we currently don't have, and will help us streamline efforts to meet some of the needs that we know on our own we cannot do unless we have the partnership. So some elements of successful partnerships can include having a shared vision and desired outcomes, uphold legal, legislative, fiduciary, and constitutional obligations, be accommodating, responsive, and accountable, make investments and contributions to support the partnership, right? It's not a partnership if it's one-sided. It has to be a collaborative effort on both sides, being accountable, making investments and contributions to that partnership. To have respectful, frank, and honest dialogue. To have clear decision-making processes identified. To be committed to the shared learning journey, and to be supported with quality information and advice. And so those are some of the elements of a successful partnership. We're like, and the next one, yeah. And then, now again. Another one, yeah. Thank you. So Directive 4 from the Consensus Paper 2011 gave us that direction to foster meaningful collaboration and partnerships, to enable relationship building between First Nations and regional health authorities and the First Nations Health Authority, with the goal of aligning healthcare and First Nations priorities and community health plans. So part of this includes to collaborate with other First Nations and non-First Nations organizations and governments to address social and environmental determinants of First Nations health. So there's all those larger determinants of health that you're not going to see in your health plan, right? Things like moldy homes and having no ability to do some remediation. Things like quality of water, access to housing, education, employment, all of those contributing factors that inform our health outcomes. Partnerships are critical to our collective success. First Nations will create opportunities through working collaboratively with the federal, provincial, and regional partners. Again, we've identified that relationship in the framework that you approved at Gathering Wisdom last year, but we've also made that commitment to have that ongoing relationship at home within our regions through the partnership accords. Foster collaboration in research and reporting at all levels. One of the biggest challenges we have in looking at where the health status of our people are at is that there's no health indicators and there's no self-identification when our folks are acquiring services. So it's very difficult for us to get a concrete snapshot of where our community members are at and where their health is at. And by getting ahead of that information, it will help us develop programs and services that are meeting the emerging trends within our communities. Supporting community engagement hubs and enabling relationship building between First Nations and regional health authorities and First Nations Health Authority with the goal of aligning health care with First Nations priorities and community health plans where applicable. So some communities have developed health plans, some regions are developing regional wellness plans, and where it makes sense, align them with some of the regional plans that have been developed with the regional health authorities. So in Consensus Paper 2011, the Regional Caucus will be supported to engage in relationship building with regional health authorities and implement agreements. First Nations have greater influence over relevant program service planning and funding decisions of the Regional Health Authority, enable greater leveraging of resources, and set out shared agenda and actions for improving First Nations health. So these are the things that have been identified in the Consensus Paper as what we need to do within our regions. In terms of the framework agreement, BC health authorities to work collaboratively within BC First Nations and their respective regions to develop and review their Aboriginal health plans and First Nations community health and wellness plans to achieve better coordination in health planning. Somebody's holding up a piece of paper. I don't know what it means. Oh, you can't read as fast as oh, that's not even on the right page, so I guess that's why. Can you back up a bit? Back more? That's good. You can't read as fast as I can talk, but it's on the wrong page, so how could you? Hopefully it'll make sense now. I'm going fast because we've got 2 signings, and that's the important stuff. You don't want to be listening to me blabbing on and on here. So collaborate on the delivery of healthcare services, right? We're not talking about reinventing the wheel and everybody starting from scratch. We're talking about what makes sense within our region, what's already happening, how can we collaborate, support one another, ourselves as First Nations regions, as well as the health authorities within our region, because they're providing services to all citizens within the region. That includes our citizens. If there's some stuff that we're doing that makes sense, we can partner with the health authority so that we can extend services to other folks living within our territories as well. Discuss innovative service delivery and, where appropriate, establish funding arrangements at a local and regional level between the health authority, regional tables, and the BC health authorities. Of course, everything costs money, right? The resolution from 2011-01 work plan is for the Regional Caucus, Regional Health Authority partnership agreements to target completion for November 2012. So when we looked at developing the work plan that we were directed to do from the resolution last year, the target to complete all of the partnership accords for all 5 regions was November 2012. And we know that we're well ahead of that work plan target. So for the Fraser Region. So the Fraser Region vision is blending the best of 2 worlds in health, modern medicine and ancestral teachings and ways. And the Fraser Region signed their partnership accord in December of 2011. The Fraser Salish people and the Fraser Health Authority hosted a signing ceremony. Their partnership vision is, as what I just already stated, the blending of both worlds. The accord allows for increased First Nations participation in decisions about health services for First Nations and other Aboriginal peoples within the Fraser Region. It describes the relationship, commitments of the parties, and reciprocal accountability. The Fraser Region also has a document of intent between the interim First Nations Health Authority and the Fraser Region Health Authority, which supports the work under the Regional Partnership Accord. So that's the Fraser Region. The Interior Region established a working group and have their targeted completion for the fall of 2012. So each of the 7 nations within the Interior Region will develop a letter of understanding, agreement, and one partnership accord. So the Tunaka Nation is reviewing the second letter of understanding, and the Okanagan and Interior Health Authority will sign their letter of understanding in the next couple of months. Last March, the Regional Caucus participants talked about what they envisioned for their accord, the indicators and the terms, and a working group has been established. First Nations Health Council Representative Gwen Phillips will put the pen to paper, and the first draft will be ready in time for this Gathering Wisdom. So I guess, where's Gwen? Okay, thank you, Gwen. So that's been done. Tick, for those of us keeping track. And it is hoped that the accord will be ready to be signed this fall. So the Interior Region is working hard and getting their partnership accord completed. Northern Region, their focus is on innovative ways to improve health and to meet the unique needs of the North. So whenever we talk about, within our own region, Vancouver Island region, we talk about disparity in terms of some of our rural and remote communities, and we do have them on Vancouver Island. It just seems so minor in comparison when you travel to the north and you visit with the north. I've had the privilege of sitting in with the northern regional family meetings in a couple of the regions in the north, and some of their experiences, it just kind of makes me think for myself as a mother, you know, if my child falls down and gets hurt, I can go right down the street. You know, I know exactly where I'm going, I know how long it takes me to get there, and I can get some help. But if I lived in one of these communities in the north, that's not the option for me. That's not the experience from our family members and our community members that live up in the north. And so there are very specific needs within the northern region. So they're prepared to sign their partnership accord today. We're very excited to have them do their ceremony immediately following this presentation. But some of the key things that came out of the Northern Partnership is looking at the fact that it is a partnership. But it's not just a partnership between the Northern Caucus and the Northern Region Health Authority. It's also a partnership internally to the Northern Caucus. Within all of those nations and all of those families within that Northern Caucus, they also have to have some understanding amongst each other as to what they want that partnership accord to say and what they want that partnership accord to do. And then they have to take that information and engage in a partnership with the health authority itself. So sometimes that means the words, the specific words that folks want to include may not necessarily appear on paper, but the spirit and the intent of the partnership is that of the North. So this partnership accord will have an annual review to reflect on how it's working with recommendations for potential changes to improve their relationship. The accord will be an evergreen document, which means it'll never be cemented. It's something that will ebb and flow, evolve and change as the changes and the needs of the North come forward. And they're going to have a regional table that consists of 2 representatives and the Health Council representative from each of the 3 regions. So they'll have a regional table of 9. So that's the work going on in the Northern region. Vancouver Coastal is also going to be signing their partnership accord today. Yay, yeah. Yay, Leah's here. Thank you, Leah. And one of the unique challenges for the Vancouver Coastal region is that it includes it includes a commitment to jointly develop an urban health strategy with indicators. And that's one of the unique challenges with the Vancouver Coastal region, is that a large majority of our away-from-home citizens reside within the Vancouver Coastal region. And so that's an excellent challenge for Vancouver Coastal region to have, but one I know that they can work through, and their partnership accord is going to assist them in doing that. And for us on Vancouver Island region, Our focus is on developing strong processes to support collaboration, innovation, and improved health outcomes for our citizens. The Partnership Accord will streamline efforts and avoid duplication, identify common challenges and opportunities to learn from one another, and make sure that we're collaborating on issues. And an excellent example of that collaboration was very recently when Cowichan Tribes Chief Harvey Alphonse declared a state of emergency for Cowichan Tribes because he was so concerned about the suicides that were taking place within the community. And there was an immediate dialogue and work between Cowichan Tribes and the Vancouver Island Health Authority. And that's an example of that ability to collaborate on issues. And our partnership accord was just signed on Monday evening. Yay, Vancouver Island! So this is just kind of a broad overview of the relationship work that we're doing within our families, within our regions, because as we say at the Health Council, it's the work at home that really counts. And it's those partnerships and relationships that we develop within our regions that is going to ensure improved health outcomes for our people. Thank you so much for your attention.